Hey everyone, it's Zeraldo here, and today we're on DragonFable, and I'm trying something sort of new. We're going for a DragonFable class guide. I'm going to just start with Mage, because I sort of know it. I haven't actually used it in a while, but it's just a nice little base class. It's color custom, and I've just gone with something that roughly matches my hood and cape that I like to wear. Okay, so I'll just start by saying I can't remember the exact levels for everything, but you basically level up the mage class and get more moves, so you obtain all 14 of your moves by leveling up, just normal. So by the time you get to level 18 you unlock final, which is your guaranteed crit. Um, so we'll just start. I'll show you at my level. You've just got your basic attack, which I've actually got a really high chance to critical, just for the sake of you understanding. It's a 65% critical chance. I've got really high, I mean you can get higher than all this, but I've got some really high base, well not base, but just dodges. Got high resistances. This class starts off with an innate 5 resistance to light and darkness, so normally I'd only have about 33. Yep, power's a good one. I'll just start from here, work my way across, and then work my way across there. Power's really good because it's a 20% boost to power for 5 turns, so effectively it gives you another turn. But it's also an attack with bonus power, so you're not really losing out on anything. You've got your 4 sort of elemental moves. This one is just 25% extra fire damage. Now, you've probably noticed it's really good to use power first in combination with these other moves. We've also got an Ice Strike, which is 25% damage, and it weakens them to fire. Now you probably noticed some text here. If you actually use Ice, and then in your next turn use Fire, you will do even more bonus damage. Just be aware of when I crit and when I don't. So that's a significant amount of extra damage, and you can further boost that by using power. Wind has the exact same sort of effect, except for your bonus to hit, so that's just your chance to hit being increased. As you can see, these are all, in terms of MP, relatively cheap. That lasts for a few turns. You can just check your status effects here and how long they last for. Energy is essentially the same as power. 25% boost for a whole bunch of turns. Now, we'll have to find a boss at some point just to show you. We'll skip Fury until we've got a multi-target. Now, Final Blast, it's a guaranteed crit. I believe it actually boosts your base damage a bit as well. So, a guaranteed crit's not all that useful when you crit most of the time, but it's still helpful, especially when it does boost your base damage. Now, you've got a defensive barrier, and it significantly reduces their chance to hit you. Now, I've read that if it does hit you, the next one will sort of hit less if it does hit you, and every consistent hit will do similar things. Meditate's just a 1% mana restore, so at low levels that's not all that useful. Sleep is a 0. It does no damage, as you've just seen, but it's a 3-turn stun, and you actually boost your own power. Now, there's a lot of power boosts in this class. Blind Simple, you just, again, 0, but then they have a very low chance of hitting you. Now, in prolonged battles, the best thing to do would be to alternate between Blind and Sleep, and not to use both at the same time, because that's sort of pointless. Also got a mana blockout move. Now, apparently this is just based on your melee damage, but I'm not entirely sure. As you can see, you can do a lot of damage to your opponent's mana. I just took it all away. It's not really the most useful thing out. Only some bosses actually utilize mana, but you know, you get the idea. Also got Root. Now this is just a little attack which stops your opponents running away. Originally, opponents couldn't actually run away, so it just seemed like a totally obsolete move. But under the new system, which isn't that new, it's a couple years old now, you can stop them running away. You've also got just your basic attack. That's 50% damage with an additional 20% damage each turn, so in total it's 150% damage. Potions, you just have potions with every class. We've still got to find a enemy to display the multi-target. Now, just final. Mage's multi-target is really good because it has no cooldown, which is quite amazing. And I've also been led to believe it does slightly higher base damage than your average move. Don't know what I'm doing. I didn't actually read what this quest is. I'm just killing stuff. Must be... let's see. We can just compare and roughly figure out how much extra damage it's doing. 130 and 260. Yeah, it looks like it might even be as much as a... not quite 50. I'm going to estimate it about a 40% boost that Fury has, and that's a multi with no cooldown. So it can just be used over and over again. That was one thing that Mage has over Rogue and Warrior, is that its multi is great. Now, I shouldn't have used that move on a energy enemy. You could see that damage was getting quite nice there. So as you can see, essentially you're just alternating between Fury and Final Blow accordingly, with some of these extra moves being used in some of the prolonged battles. Now I'll just cut to a boss battle where you can actually see this, the stacks of all this power boost coming into play. Just a reminder, as far as the mage classes go, you need like wands, staffs, or scythes to actually use the moves. Well, for the mage class itself anyway. So, in terms of elements, most are fine, but fire seems to like it'll have a bit of advantage, especially if you've got frozen applied. So the order I'd suggest going in would probably be something like power boost, followed by lightning over here. Now you've got a 45% boost to damage, which is pretty helpful. Just do the Ice Strike. And finish off with Fireball. So that's a rather nice combo. Now that's with the crits. Without crits it's about half that. So for a default mage class, this thing can deal a fair amount of damage. Now, you got to remember, he's still frozen. You've still got 45% damage boost. If you want, you can probably just try a Final Blast to end that with. And although it's not as much, it's still a nice little bit of damage. So that's sort of how you optimize damage in the longer battles. Now, if you picked Mage at the beginning of the game, then you're sort of stuck with it in terms of your base class. The only way to change your base class is with, I believe, dragon coins. Could be gold, but no, I'm pretty sure it's just dragon coins. I've got a little cheat. I've got what's called the Shadow Mage armor, and this can be merged into one of the other base classes for gold, and it can just be done and done again. So I have access to one of the other base classes if I really want. Now, I think I'll just use my alt characters to do the other two base class guides, but and I'll probably do a video detailing this, but it's just so you know it exists. It won't really be good for this character because he's mostly got staffs with a few sights. Yeah. So let me know what you think of this sort of DragonFable class guide setup, if there's ways I could do it. AQ Worlds is a bit different with the way the class system works, and so I lay out the videos differently. The other DragonFable guides, when I get into more technical classes such as Necromancer or Paladin, I'll actually show where you go and what quests you train. In fact, I'll probably use those quests to actually show the class as well. Yeah, just let me know what you think.